You are now locked in to the Sitting Down with the Sisters podcast.
Hi guys, welcome back to Sitting Down with the Sisters. What is it?
The Sitting Down with the Sisters podcast.
Why is my head okay?
You know what it is? I realise sometimes it says welcome back to Sitting Down with the Sisters.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Welcome back, guys, to the Sitting Down with the Sisters podcast. We are your hosts. I am Temi.
I'm Ayo.
And I'm Ashley.
Hi guys.
Hello,
darling.
Welcome to episode 3, I believe,
of
season 4.
Yeah.
Welcome back. So today on this episode, we are going to be talking about lust versus sexual attraction.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what really brought that conversation up. I don't know how we even decided that topic, but I think I have an idea.
I'll tell you.
Do you want to tell us?
I'll
Yeah, go
tell
on.
you. So basically, Love Island last week.
If you watch it, if you don't watch it, we'll obviously tell you the
what
background.
happened.
But yeah,
Summary.
So technically this is 2 weeks ago for you lot, but this is last week for us because today's Monday. But basically, there's this couple on Love Island called Faye and Teddy, and they were having a bit of a pass up because Teddy had like a sexual attraction to a girl called Clarice in Casa Amor,
Someone else.
but he didn't act on it. He just expressed like that's how he felt to her, like said a couple things, but he didn't do anything about it. He
Right.
chose to stay loyal to Faye.
Right.
And then he got back to the villa. Now they're showing Faye that, oh, this happened in the villa, like yada yada yada. So then Tony Tone, you guys probably know her if you're on Twitter. She's quite popular. She tweeted something saying that a lot of people like are uncomfortable with the fact or don't acknowledge the fact or are naive to the fact that you can be in a relationship and your partner still be sexually attracted to other people outside of your relationship. So I guess that then transformed into a completely different conversation because people were chiming in and everything. And then I was like, is that true? Like, do I feel like that's okay if my man is sexually attracted? But then obviously I came to the conclusion that it's normal to like be sexually attracted to other people. But, well, we can discuss that actually. But also deeper than that, is sexual attraction and lust the same thing?
yeah.
It is.
Do you know what
Is that what you actually think?
I think it's the same thing, yeah. Because
Oh.
it all stems from sexual desire.
Fair.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think I agree with Ashley as well. I've been thinking about this for a minute and tried to see what the difference is, and I wasn't really able to come up with anything. So if you guys might have, if you can differentiate it, it would be good to understand that. And one thing I wanted to say from Tony Tone's tweet, I was really shocked by a lot of responses. I don't know if it has anything to do with maturity, but a lot of people were so against the idea of they disagreed with Tony Tone's tweet, basically
Like you
saying,
shouldn't be.
no, my partner can't be sexually attracted to anyone besides myself. And it's just like, is that what you really think? Ha 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 ha. Yo, what a joker. Do you get it? Because I can get the initial response. The initial trigger could just be like, no, that's my boyfriend or that's my girlfriend. She can't really be looking at anyone or she can't be really doing anything. But maybe they forget that just because you're sexually attracted to someone or you find someone sexually appealing does not mean that you have to act on it. Maybe they're thinking beyond the surface level of just looking at them, and they're thinking more into like doing something about it. And I feel like a lot of women, more than men, we know how to control our actions when it comes to sexual. Sorry, I don't want to make it a debate or like a little competition between men and women, but there is with a certain gender when it comes to sexual attraction. So I do feel like, yeah, maybe people do get confused when it comes to the actual act than the thought of it coming into your mind.
Can I read the definition?
Yeah.
Okay, so sexual attraction is attraction on the basis of sexual desire or the quality of arousing such interest.
Right.
And then let me look at lust. Wow, I wrote list. Lust is strong sexual desire.
See, that's the thing. I don't think they're the same, but only because I think sometimes when we think sexual, we think sinful, we think bad, or we think untoward, like it's not correct or it shouldn't be happening. I don't know how to explain it, but I think you guys get what I mean. Like, the reason why I now slightly don't think they're the same is only because God gave all human beings sexual desires and sexual, like, the want to have a sexual relationship with someone. Whether obviously there's a container he intended for that to happen in, which is marriage, but I think that if we deem everything sexual as lustful, then we're blurring the line. Only because obviously lust to me, obviously I've heard the definition, but lust to me is when you're lusting after something. So even if you take it out of a sexual context, you can lust after anything. It's like almost believing something is...
That's true. It doesn't, it can be an object.
Something is yours and
tangible,
thinking that you deserve to have it and you should deserve to use it however you want. So then for me, say for instance, you think somebody is attractive. So even with the Tony Tone tweet, how you said you didn't, like, you saw people that couldn't comprehend that. At first I was one of those people, I was like, I personally think you can be attracted to someone but not necessarily sexually attracted to somebody outside of the relationship. Then I realized that the way women and men view sexual attraction can be a bit different. So for men, they might look at a woman and be like, oh yeah, she's like sexy or whatever, but it's just that, and it's a fleeting thought and they've moved past it. While for me, my mind doesn't automatically go to sexual attraction when I look at men. More time it's just, oh, I think you're good looking, or I think you're attractive.
Absolutely.
And then that's it.
Do you know what? Sorry,
go ahead.
I'm glad you separated the two, but the reality is that's not the case for a lot of people. Sexual attraction and lust has become intertwined.
They've become intertwined, exactly.
Do you get what I'm saying? That's why, and I get what you mean, being careful not to deem everything as lust when it comes to sexuality or sexual desires, because that's why we have the issue now in the church where we don't even have the conversation surrounding sex and purity, all of that. But the issue is that a lot of things today, for a lot of people, sexual attraction and lust is intertwined.
Especially
there's no such thing as it being separate.
Especially because it all stems from like physical attraction. It all stems on how something looks from the outside. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know. I get what Aya's coming from, because at the end of the day, lust.
And she's right.
Absolutely, you can have lust for different things. It doesn't have to be for another human being. But at the same time, Ashley is right in a sense where it does stem from that same place, and a lot of people have made both.
There's a very thin line.
There's a very, very thin line for me between the both.
So I guess what you guys are both saying is, more time nowadays, if somebody is sexually attracted to somebody else, they're essentially also wanting to do something with that person.
More or less.
Because that's essentially what lust is. Lust is, okay, the reason why lust is because you're almost pining after something. You
right.
want to do
right. Do you know
with that thing?
Right. Okay. So I was literally thinking, when I hear the definition lust, I do kind of think more action based than physical
or mentally
mental, you know, state. Like, I just think with lust, you might want to take it a bit further. So I can understand where you're coming from in that sense, but it doesn't necessarily mean you still have to act on it, though.
You know, that's what I'm saying, because even the Bible talks about you can lust after a woman in your heart, and that is sinful. So you can, in your mind or your heart, believe, like, want to do something sexual with someone, even think about it, act it out in your own brain, and that's lustful.
Like,
exactly.
Have fancies, and that's where I'm coming from.
Exactly.
Like, there's a quote here where it says, lust is considered to be a disordered desire for sexual pleasure, where sexual pleasure is sought for itself, isolated from its procreative and unitive purposes.
Right.
Sexual desire in itself is good, and it's considered part of God's plan for humanity.
Right.
But when it's isolated, again, like you said, from its procreative and unitive purposes, that's when it's becomes dangerous.
Exactly. So
and that's the case. A lot of people, there's no purpose, but like when people, for example, when someone has a sexual desire for someone else, it's not, oh, I want to be with her. Not to say that that's how you should see someone, because that's not the case for everyone, but essentially there's no purpose to it. It's just, oh, I just want to sleep with her, I just want to sleep with him. That's it.
Because I find them attractive.
And there's no basis for it apart from sexual desire, and that's why the two's intertwined.
So more time, what we're saying is, outside of a marital relationship, if you're sexually attracted to somebody else, or it is essentially lust because you're wanting, or you're viewing them in a sexual way, that is not the right, I guess.
It's not appropriate. You shouldn't really view them in that way.
Yeah, I would agree with that, actually.
And do you feel like it's something that this goes without saying, I feel like there's already an answer for it, but do you feel like you can control it?
Yeah.
Control lust?
Sexual attraction.
Oh. As
in the actual way? In what way? Sorry.
For example, like the initial like thought. Imagine like there's, you know, we can differentiate finding someone attractive. Like, you're a pretty girl, you know, that's it. Like Aya said earlier. But you know, when the other thought of sexual attraction starts to come into your head, do you feel like you can prevent that from happening initially, or do you think that just automatically happens because you find them attractive?
I think for me,
do you get what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying.
I think for me, the sexual part is always more intentional for me, because I would have to think that to almost get there, versus like for some people that might be a very in the moment thing for them. Like, as soon as they see someone, it's like, oh yeah, you're sexy, or do you know what I mean?
That's the norm for them. Like.
So where I'm headed is, for example, let's come back to like the whole Tony Tone situation of the tweet she made and people responding to it, you know, not necessarily agreeing with it. Do you feel like, let's put it in context now with ourselves, if we were in relationships and, you know, we have partners, do you feel like they shouldn't, of course we know that, you know, you shouldn't be sexually attracted to people because you're in a relationship or whatnot. Would you blame them? Would you blame your partner for being sexually attracted to another person? Essentially is what I'm trying to ask.
Right.
I feel like it's a sticky one, you know, because I was talking about this.
As she said, right.
I was talking about this with a guy, and I feel like understanding it from a guy's perspective is very important, because just because somebody is sexually attracted to somebody does not mean they want anything with that person, or that they're no longer interested in you, or that it takes anything away from you. I think for a lot of girls, when they hear that, they're hearing, oh, he's no longer interested in me, he doesn't think I'm attractive anymore, blah 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 blah.
Right.
Obviously, I think there's a way you communicate it, because I think something I tweeted yesterday is essentially with Faye, I feel like what she wanted to know from Teddy is that she wanted Teddy to tell her that he was sexually attracted to Clarice, which he didn't do.
You know what? The reason, I don't want to really entertain that idea of Faye and Teddy, simply because I don't think they're the best example of that. Okay. Because I just feel like, if you're familiar with Love Island, I just feel like Faye, a lot of women like Faye, like genuinely wanting to know, because I just feel like Faye's she's just sort of called, I don't think Faye really likes Teddy, so she's just finding reasons just to sort of get over the guy, because really and truly there was nothing for Teddy to say to her.
But then if you think like,
there was absolutely nothing for, they're not in a relationship, they're not boyfriend and girlfriend. First things first. Second of all, there would be no need for you to come from Castle Moor, another villa, come to and tell the girl that you like, oh, I was sexually attracted to this person, by the way, but nothing happened. It's just unnecessary information, very redundant.
I saw some responses, like people saying like it's normal, like you should have a conversation about it. So then, is it appropriate then
to have a conversation?
For you to tell your partner, would you want your man to tell you every single time he was sexually attracted to another female?
Do you know what?
Now, if it's
reoccurring, yes.
But say now,
if it's reoccurring with the if it's reoccurring with the same person, absolutely, I would need to know, because then that's a whole different story. Do you get what I mean? Because it's the same person.
It's a bit weird. Say like if it's someone that you both know, like a mutual friend, you're not really close to her, and then you see her like at events and everything, and he's told you, I find her sexually attractive.
It's not going to be I find her sexually attractive conversation. You're going to have to sit me down and tell me this is what I'm going through. Yeah, you have to be going through something.
I don't see it. If you're sitting me down, then that means that there's obviously something.
That's why I said it has to be occurring and occurring. Imagine it's when I say occurring, I don't mean once, twice, or 3 times. I mean it's 10 times. Why are you with me then?
Okay, let's make it realistic,
because
let me give you an example quickly. Say for instance, there's Megan Thee Stallion, there's all these babes that are sexy, that men think are very sexually attractive.
Right.
If my man was to tell me that he thinks Megan is sexually attractive, it's like, to me, it's like I don't know. To me, I'm just like, okay, I can see.
Like I already know, like I get it.
That doesn't bother me,
right? Of course.
But what you're saying is true. If it's a repeated thing that you find yourself like, just because, to me, then it's more intentional on the guy's part. That is
what I mean, and it's not even. Hold on.
What if it's not a celebrity? What if it's
that was my next point,
because it's never going to be Megan Thee Stallion.
Io's example was Meg Thee Stallion, all these celebrities, Cardi B, all of them. I understand that, because I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I see Cardi B like, you're a very sexy individual, do you get it? But when it's like flipping Lakeisha down the street and you're telling me that you're not telling me, but he's feeling sexually attracted to Lakeisha, he can't even look Lakeisha in the eye, because that's all he thinks every time he sees Lakeisha.
No, because that's how it's.
That's just a problem. Is that not a problem?
He's just looking at her, she's sexy or whatever, and then he's looking away. That's not how it goes. I'm so sorry.
At the end of the day, let me be very realistic. When I say he has to sit me down and tell me, of course I don't necessarily mean he has to literally sit me down and tell me about it. But all in all, that is wrong. There's a problem. Do you get it? There's a problem. I'm sorry, you can't imagine the sexual desires are so high that you cannot look the woman in the eye because something will stand.
Right.
Yeah, no, it's wild. It's wild to me. I actually think it's wild.
And you know what? It happens. I know, and I'm sure it happens a lot in relationships, and that's absolutely fine. More time, the woman will never find out. I just hope I never find out, because if I do, it would be so awkward.
So essentially, you're trying to say,
I would rather not know, really and truly.
Decision maker. And the reason why I say,
what if it's not his decision?
Not you.
This is
like
what. That's why.
If you tell me,
if
I
you
say it's you're a poor decision maker.
I don't want to know.
The reason
Really,
why I say poor decision maker is because you've now put me in an uncomfortable situation. And you've now made me feel almost not intentionally, and I know that you have to be honest. That's why I feel like marriage is not something that you just jump into anyhow.
Right.
It's because you have to have those uncomfortable conversations beforehand.
Right.
But something like that, if you're enduring, of course, if you're telling me. And especially if it's someone that we know.
Oh my God.
You're putting me in an uncomfortable situation. That
sorry. That is what I mean.
I'm so sorry.
Okay.
Of course I get it. You have to tell me X, Y, Z, blah, blah, blah. You want to be honest with me. But that still is not going to negate the fact that I'm still going to feel uncomfortable.
For you to tell me, do you know, for you to actually tell me, do you know what I'm going to take it as? I'm going to take it as a serious problem, and you want me to know, so maybe you want to break up. Because why are you telling me?
Not even break up, but I just want to tell you because this is
No, to me that means to break up. No, that means to. Should I tell you why it means to break up? No, it's a breakup. No, should I tell you why it's a breakup? Because for men don't really come to women on these things, you know. For you to actually come to me and tell me, guys, think about it. For him to sit you down, it has to be serious. Why would a man want you to know as his girlfriend that he's sexually attracted to another woman? Especially when he's not trying to go ahead and do anything about it. So for him to tell you, he wants you to know. He either doesn't like you, wants you to end the relationship because he's too chicken to do it.
I see what you mean.
Because really, why are you telling me if you're not going to do anything about it?
Can I say something? I feel like what you're saying though negates a little bit of what we said earlier, where you said he might not like you and then he's telling you because he wants to break up. But what if he's telling you so that because it was maybe a fleeting thought, right? And he's telling you.
You don't need to tell me a fleeting thought.
Okay, but that's fair. But say he's telling you because of that, and he's just doing it so that he almost is holding himself accountable, so that now that you know, it's gonna make him like be more. I don't know how to explain.
For you to have to hold yourself accountable, it must be that serious. So why are you?
I don't
with
think
me?
so.
No, guys, think about it. Think about it. For you to be like, oh, I've told my girlfriend. Do you know when you hold someone accountable? Yeah, I tell you guys things to hold myself accountable, so I know. Oh, I shouldn't be doing it because it's that serious.
I feel you, but
I get that, but a lot of the time it is for you to take it up a notch to that level, for you to feel like you want to take accountability for something. You're not disciplined enough, so you have to tell someone to hold yourself accountable. Yes or no? Because really and truly, I can do it by myself. There's certain things I don't need to tell you guys to hold me accountable for, because I know I'm disciplined to the point where I can sort it out myself. I have that self-control. Right. So for me to tell somebody else and they have to hold me accountable, it must be serious. Why couldn't you do it yourself?
To be perfectly honest, I hear your point.
A man has sat me down in a relationship to tell me, Temi, the reason I'm telling you this is because I want you to hold me accountable. I'm sexually attracted to Lakeisha and there's nothing I can do, so I just thought I'd let you know.
Right.
No, guys, where do you hear that from? Where did all that at? Where have you seen it happen? How would you feel as a woman?
No, I hear you. It's not even that I don't hear
Ashley,
you.
I'm talking to you, babes. Answer my question. Because I don't understand, like, I'm sorry, am I mad?
Do you know
am I a mad woman?
My perspective on it is...
Guys, answer. Am I mad?
Answer in the comments, yeah, because my perspective on it is I think it's a bit different, you know. Because I think you're more speaking at it from a point where it's a reoccurring thought, right?
That's what, yeah, of course.
Not
that's what I'm
saying.
No, that's why I said if it's a fleeting thought.
You wouldn't need to say anything.
You don't tell me.
Does that make you uncomfortable?
Yes. Do you know why? Because you still don't need to tell me.
But
a fleeting thought.
Okay,
do you tell me everything you think about? By the way,
that's what I wanted to get
did you tell me like that you needed to go to the toilet yesterday?
Okay, no, not him telling you. I'm saying, is it a problem for you, or does it make you uncomfortable for the fact that he?
Oh
no,
exactly.
No, I think it's more so like him. Obviously, in that predicament, like in that situation, I would feel like, because you're not going to be like, guys, I'm sexually attracted to her too.
My thing is just the fact that you are taking it upon yourself to come forward and tell me. For you to tell me, I'm taking it as serious, because it's just a thought. The actual thought is not the problem, because at the end of the day, he's got eyes. They are beautiful women in the world. You will, just because you're in a relationship, you can't close shop to finding people sexually attractive. Do you get it? That is very normal.
Okay, cool.
Do you know what I mean? As women as well, let's not lie, it can happen to us as well. But I will absolutely not do anything about it. If I'm with you, I'm with you. Do you get it? But the fact that you have to sit me down and tell me, guys, I think there's a serious problem. Because honestly, how's that conversation supposed to go? Oh, babe, and I'm supposed to be like, yeah, and then you're like, oh, this is it. And then I would just be like, Okay, like, and then what? I'm supposed to hold your hand the next day and act like nothing happened.
What steps are we taking after that? Is it that wherever she is, you want me to know so that you're not there also, because you want me to hold you accountable? Like, what are we supposed to do?
It's just a thought. I don't need to know.
You telling me what are we supposed to do afterwards? I'm so confused.
Because really and truly, like, what Faye?
When you see her, you want me to hold your hand so that, you know, squeeze it, pinching you.
In
so
fact,
that
do
nothing else
blindfold.
happens.
Oh my God, I'm your support.
System. LOL.
Yikes. That's me, basically.
That's hilarious.
Your A&A. That's what I am. Your therapist. Because I don't understand what else am I supposed to do.
Anonymous.
So then my next question is,
Yeah.
do you, obviously I don't want to do the whole men versus women thing because that's not my ministry. But no, I'm sorry. I know some people got upset about that last season, so whatever, innit?
Anyway, go on.
So then do you think, that it happens? Do you think, because I saw some people responding and saying that it happens more with men than it does with women, as in the whole sexual attraction.
Right.
Like, is it more common would you say do you think it's more common in men or women, or is it the same?
Can I go first? I think it's the same. I'd say it's
same.
equal. I was gonna say initially when I heard that question, I was gonna go straight to saying men, but really and truly, I think it's equal. I just feel like with women, we just know how to handle it a lot better than men, like a lot of things. Do you know what I mean? So, do you know what I mean? Men are more prone to actually acting on those thoughts than women, so it would seem as if they think about it more.
Exactly.
Do you get it?
Okay,
and I also think people,
that's a good point.
I think sometimes people talk about men in a horrible way. Like I definitely think God made men different to women, innit? So I think,
of course,
in a lot of ways, men are more visual. That doesn't mean that they're more. I think we the way we should discuss it should be more mature. It doesn't mean that men are weak. I don't know how to explain it, because people like to excuse men's behavior and be like, oh, it's because they're visual. No, they're just more visual. That's okay. But I do think women and men both they're the same amount, because I think a lot of the time people just assume women don't have these sexual thoughts or whatever. Women do. I just think they don't speak about it.
I was going to say that
as much as men.
As well, there's someone who do hide it.
Yeah,
I feel like a lot of people just carry themselves with class when it comes to it, whereas with like not to be rude, but there's some men who just don't care. And that's the case for women too as well. That's why I say it's the same.
And let's remember, like, societal standards as well. Exactly. Like when it comes to men and women, men are more like open to like being sexual than women. Right. So of course they're more likely to act on it than women. That's a
good point.
You know.
So
So that whole guys, I'm sorry, that whole situation. Not to really go back to Faye, but
you want to have a meeting with her?
No, not really.
I'm coming back. Carry on. I'm cutting my feet.
Okay.
No, we'll pause. We can't do that.
What is she doing? Couldn't someone get it for her?
We'll pause. We can't imagine one clip and then all of a sudden there's no one sitting there.
So viewers will just be waiting.
I'm done.
For her to come back.
It's fine.
Yeah, I just feel like, you know, if Faye did really like Teddy and she expected him to tell her that he had a sexual attraction, he had sexual chemistry, or he had a sexual attraction to another woman in the villa, I think that's not, she's not in touch with reality personally, because no, I don't mean, do you get it? Because really and truly it's just a thought. He's gonna have that with a lot of other women, I think, so he's not supposed to really be like, I don't know, each their own.
And I think even you go on.
Sorry, no, I was just gonna say, do you know where I had that exact same thought process, and someone broke it down to me on Twitter yesterday. They were basically like, it's not necessarily the fleeting thought that she feels like is necessary to express, but that he said other things, and he made it clear, like he said these things to Clarice.
What
so
did he say?
Like he said, oh, you're making me be like a bad Teddy, and he was thinking, oh, maybe I'll sleep in the bed with you, maybe not. So it was more the conversation that surrounded it, and the fact that he entertained it.
Yeah, no, it wasn't appropriate.
Not that he necessarily was sexual. I guess it was more everything that was surrounding it, the actions that he did, even though he never
really did anything, but just the whole thing that came with it.
Because I think as well, a lot of people are dragging Faye, which I get, because it was very it was very outrageous. But at the same time, the reason why I get where she's coming from is because if you were to put yourself, in fact, forget the villa, say like in the outside world, the real world, someone that you're dating, someone that you consider seeing a future with, and then you find out from someone else that, oh, you know, he expressed to that woman that he has a sexual attraction, and that he can't behave himself, he doesn't know how to behave around her. I'm sorry, but that's for me, you're showing yourself, one, that you're a poor decision maker, and two, that you're for the congregation.
Yeah, do you know what? Actually, you're absolutely right, and I do agree with you. But at the end of the day, guys, I feel like you said, forget Love Island for a second. It's still talking stage, and a talking stage does essentially mean you're not necessarily, I don't want to use the word allowed, but really and truly it means you are still exploring your options with other people. Obviously it does depend how you've communicated with your partner. If you've let them know it's just them, you know, you've said all these things to them, then it is inappropriate. But if you let them know that, you know, I do like you, however this is a situation, you know, we're still getting to know each other, I really don't know you completely yet, so we can continue getting to know each other, but then do you completely shut yourself off to other people, especially in the early stages? How would you know what you like? Do you get it? So obviously taken out of Love Island context, in real life, these things that do happen, and I feel like in the initial talking stage, let's say like 2 months, 1 month in, I don't think, you know, you should shut yourself off if you're not sure of the person you're talking to. If you're sure, it's a different story. Of course, then you don't need to. Do you get it? Do you know what I mean? So there's that as well.
Yeah, I think this was very interesting, actually. And I'm excited to see what you lot have to say in the comments.
Yeah, same.
I know it's going to go off.
But thank you guys so much for listening.
Thank you.
And we'll see you
on our next
episode.
Bye. Interesting.